In Europe, the wrong hand gesture can get you arrested, fired, or banned from entire countries. We're not talking about flipping someone off. We're talking about gestures so politically loaded that they're literally illegal in multiple nations. Some of these are obvious. Nazi salute? Yeah, that'll get you jail time in Germany. But others are way more complicated. Gestures that mean resistance in one country mean terrorism in another. Symbols of democracy here are symbols of fascism there. And sometimes completely innocent gestures get hijacked by extremist groups, and suddenly you can't make an OK sign without people wondering if you're a white supremacist. This is the minefield of European political gestures, where your hands can accidentally align you with ideologies you've never even heard of. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. The Nazi salute, arm extended, palm down, fingers straight, is explicitly illegal in Germany under Strafgesetzbuch section 86a and in Austria under the Prohibition Act of 1947. We're talking actual prison time. Up to 3 years in Germany, 5 in Austria if you're really enthusiastic about it. In Slovakia and Czech Republic, it's prohibited under laws against promoting extremist ideologies, though they usually need to prove intent. In Poland, there's no specific law banning the gesture itself. They'd prosecute it under broader bans on promoting totalitarian ideologies. You'd think after 80 years this would be ancient history? Nope. People still get arrested for this weekly. Drunk tourists doing it as a joke at the Brandenburg Gate. Football fans throwing it up at matches. The problem is defining what counts as the salute. German courts have convicted people for modified versions, but cross the border into some other European countries, and while it's disgusting, and you'll definitely get plenty of hostile looks, it might not be technically illegal. This patchwork of laws means neo-Nazis literally plan their rallies based on which country has the weakest hand gesture laws. The communist fist. The raised fist. Symbol of solidarity, workers' rights, resistance. Sounds heroic, right? Not in the Baltics, not in Poland, not in Ukraine. Not socially, anyway. While these countries have laws banning communist symbols like the hammer and sickle, flags, and emblems, the raised fist itself isn't explicitly illegal. But try throwing it up at a rally in Warsaw or Vilnius and watch how fast the mood changes. The gesture is associated with Soviet oppression, and while you might not get arrested for the fist alone, you'll definitely get confronted. The social hatred for this gesture in Eastern Europe is intense. For them, it represents decades of oppression, deportations, and murder. It's like waving the flag of their former occupiers. But travel west, and the same gesture is used by trade unions, anti-fascist groups, and social movements. French protesters throw it up constantly. Spanish leftists use it at every rally. It's on logos, posters, t-shirts. The contrast is whiplash-inducing. A gesture that means workers' rights in Paris means Soviet oppression in Warsaw. What's progressive in Berlin is socially toxic in Vilnius, even if not technically criminal. The three-finger salute. Hold up your thumb, index, and middle finger. In most of the world, you're counting to 3. In the Balkans, you just started a political argument that could end in violence. For Serbs, it represents the Holy Trinity. Orthodox Christianity, basically. Sounds innocent enough. Except it became a Serbian nationalist symbol during the Yugoslav wars. Now it's associated with Serbian nationalism, war crimes, and genocide denial, depending on who you ask. It's not illegal anywhere. There's no law against it. But the social and political weight of this gesture is massive. Do it in Bosnia, Croatia, or Kosovo, and you're making a statement about the 1990s wars that killed hundreds of thousands. Serbian athletes throw it up after winning. Serbian protesters use it at demonstrations. When Novak Djokovic does it at Wimbledon, Serbian fans say he's showing pride. Others say he's dog-whistling to nationalists. UEFA and FIFA have fined players for it, not because it's illegal, but because they consider it provocative. The Albanian Eagle. Interlock your thumbs and spread your fingers like wings. Congratulations! You've just made the Albanian double-headed eagle. Depending on where you are, you've either shown pride in your heritage or lit the fuse on the next Balkan incident. For Albanians, the gesture embodies their flag, their national coat of arms, and a centuries-old symbol of unity, independence, and identity. It appears on murals in Kosovo, on t-shirts in Tirana, and in countless diaspora wedding videos. Across the border, the meaning shifts entirely. Serbs, Montenegrins, and others in the region read it as a declaration of Albanian nationalism and greater Albania ambitions, especially over Kosovo. In the wrong setting, the pose is taken as an open challenge. The 2018 World Cup burned this image into the global memory. Swiss players Xherdan Shaqiri and Granit Xhaka, both ethnic Albanians from Kosovo, scored against Serbia and celebrated with the Eagle gesture. FIFA fined them €10,000 each for unsporting behavior. The Serbian Football Association condemned it as a political provocation. Politicians fumed on television. Death threats poured in. A single hand sign had pushed Switzerland and Serbia into a miniature diplomatic crisis. The controversy has kept going. Albanian footballers are fined for it in international matches. Fans are arrested for doing it in Serbian stadiums. In the wrong section during a derby, it can trigger a full-scale brawl. UEFA treats it as provocative, yet Albanian communities worldwide celebrate it openly. Its volatility spikes when it meets the Serbian three-finger salute. When Kosovo faces Serbia in any sport, both symbols appear in the stands like opposing flags. Each is meant as an insult to the other, and neither side backs down. In the Balkans, even hand gestures carry generations of unresolved conflict, and the argument plays out as fiercely in the air as it does across the negotiating table. The Quinnel. This one's a masterclass in plausible deniability. Created by French comedian Dieudonné, it's basically an inverted Nazi salute. One arm pointing down while the other hand touches the shoulder. Dieudonné says it's anti-establishment. Critics say it's anti-Semitic. French courts sided with the critics. People have been fired, fined, and arrested for doing it. The gesture went viral around 2013. People started doing it everywhere. At synagogues, at Holocaust memorials, in front of Jewish schools. Then they'd claim it was just anti-system protest. It's the perfect neo-Nazi gesture because it has built-in deniability. French footballer Nicolas Anelka did it during a match and got a 5-match ban plus an £80,000 fine. A soldier did it in front of a synagogue and got kicked out of the army. But Dieudonné kept insisting it means whatever the person doing it wants it to mean. This is the new evolution of extremist gestures, ambiguous enough to deny, clear enough to signal to your people. The Grey Wolves sign. Make a wolf head with your hand. Pinky and index finger up for ears, the rest curled in to form the snout. This isn't just a random shape, it's based on the Boskurt, the Grey Wolf, a legendary figure in Turkic mythology symbolizing guidance, unity, and resilience for Turkic peoples for centuries. In modern Turkey, however, the gesture was adopted by the Nationalist Movement Party and its affiliated Grey Wolves organization as a political emblem. Over time, the party's hardline nationalist stance and the actions of some of its members, from street clashes to extremist rhetoric, have overshadowed its mythological roots. As a result, while the Boskurt sign is deeply tied to Turkish identity, it has also become politically loaded, even irritating to some Turks who dislike the Nationalist Movement Party, but still value the cultural heritage behind the symbol. The Grey Wolves have been linked to political violence, assassinations, and attacks on minorities. France has banned the organization entirely. Austria has outlawed the salute itself. The European Parliament has even called for an EU-wide ban. And yet, you'll still see it on football pitches and in political photo ops. At Euro 2024, Turkish defender Mary Demiral celebrated a goal with the gesture, triggering a diplomatic row with Germany and earning a 2-match ban from UEFA. In Germany, with its large Turkish community, the sign creates constant headaches. Kids throw it up in schools without knowing what it means. Adults use it knowing exactly what it means. Authorities debate whether banning it would curb extremism or simply provoke Ankara. The Roman salute. The so-called Roman salute wasn't actually Roman. No ancient sources or Roman art show it being used. Its modern life began in neoclassical paintings like Jacques-Louis David's Oath of the Hirashi, then turned into a piece of movie drama in the 1914 Italian epic Cabiria. Italian poet and nationalist Gabriele D'Annunzio brought it into politics, Mussolini made it standard fascist theater, and Hitler copied it for Nazi Germany. That hasn't stopped modern far-right groups from insisting it's simply honoring Rome, a convenient excuse that neatly sidesteps the salute's fascist baggage. They frame it as cultural pride, a nod to ancient heritage, or even harmless historical reenactment. The argument works well enough in casual settings, which is exactly why it's still so common at certain rallies, football matches, and commemorations. In Italy, the legal debate over that excuse just took a major turn. In January 2024, the Supreme Court ruled the salute isn't automatically a crime. Instead, judges must consider context. It only becomes illegal if there's a concrete threat to public order, or if it's clearly being used to promote or revive the fascist party. That means the same gesture can be treated completely differently, depending on where, when, and why it's made. So what does that look like in real life? A crowd of nostalgic fascists saluting at Mussolini's tomb during a commemoration? Likely legal, offensive but allowed, unless they're actively recruiting or inciting violence. Do it at a rally against immigrants? Now you're in territory that could get you prosecuted. Italian judges have been wrestling with this for decades. Football ultras throw it up and claim it's about Roman pride. Politicians sometimes give toned-down versions and call it an enthusiastic wave. The annual gatherings at Mussolini's tomb see hundreds doing it in unison, and after the 2024 ruling, those scenes sit in an even murkier legal gray zone. Offensive to many, but criminal only when they cross that clear threat threshold.